Hey guys, it's Tootsie now. Today, I'm kind of talking about something a little more serious today. I'm gonna talk about my disabilities because I want you guys maybe to hopefully connect. Maybe someone could connect to me, someone who's similar to me. I have 3 different types of disabilities. 2 of them most people have heard of, and 3rd one most people have not. I have dyslexia. I have ADHD, that's hyper-attention deficit disorder, and I also have neurofibrosis. Now, the neurofibrosis most people haven't heard of, and I'm going to talk about each of these disabilities and how it affects me. First, I'm going to start with neurofibrosis because that's the one people don't know the most about. Neurofibrosis is it's also mental and it's also physical. It's like a chemical disbalance in your brain. It can cause disabilities like ADD, ADHD, OCD, and stuff like that. And I got the ADHD part of it. And it can also cause physical appearances, like it can cause birthmarks. Now, most of my birthmarks have faded. They usually be right out. You can't see them. It's like, oh gosh, I have a birthmark like right here in my arm, and there's like one on one of my neck. I think it's like right there. Most of them you can't see because I'm kind of washed out on the camera, but my birthmarks used to be really, really dark when I was a kid, and for some reason I heard someone say, oh, you can only have one birthmark. Not true. You can have as many birthmarks as... There's not a limit to birthmarks, actually. There is no limit. I also heard someone say that flat birthmarks, are caused by bruises that you got in the wound. Not true. That is not true whatsoever. Mine is caused by neurofibrosis. There's other reasons why you could get birthmarks. You just get a birthmark. It's just how your body grew and was created, but mine is caused by my neurofibrosis. With neurofibrosis, you can also be a tendency, you can grow like these bumps on your skin. It's kind of just like a raised bump on your skin. I don't have any, thankfully. My grandfather on my mom's side did have them. He had a lot of them. My mom does have a few, but I was luckily not to get any. And it's just it's just like a bump on your, it's like a bump. It's like he got hit with something, someone punching. He got like a raised bump, and it's there, and it doesn't ever go away. I was really lucky not to have some. But the thing with these bumps, they can grow on the inside of your body, and particularly with me, it can grow on your brain. I do have 2 small ones on the back part of my head. I have to get an MRI. I had to get MRIs a lot when I was a child. Almost every year I had to get one. But they have not grown, which is very good. They have not grown. They have not changed at all since I was a child. Since I was like 4 or 5 years old when I had mine, they have not changed since then. They've just been there. They've always seen them there, and they have not changed at all. So that is very good. And the thing with these bumps, either on me or on my skin like Mama has, they can become cancerous. They can turn into cancers. So I have not grown at all, so that is very good. Excuse me, I gotta try to get comfy here. My foot's falling asleep, so I stretch that out. So that is a good thing. So I'm very happy with that. And so neurofibrosis, it is not contagious. I mean, when I was really young, with back to my birthmarks, people thought I had a rash, and they thought they could get it, or I was sick, and it wasn't sick. It is a hereditary kind of disease. It's hereditary. No one can catch it from me. Only my children will be able to get it, and it's like a 50-50 chance. So it's like a coin toss. So I have kids. They may not. It's a 50-50 chance. So. And nothing I can do about it, because, my grandfather, he had it bad. My mom's not as bad as my grandfather, and I'm actually less than my mom, so maybe my children will be less than me. By the way it's going, I'm the 3rd generation, it's going less and less, so hopefully that works, because I don't want, I'm going to love my kids when I have children. I plan to have children, not anytime soon, like way in the future, but I do want kids someday. But I just hope they don't have to have the disabilities I have, so they don't have to go through the struggle of it. I'll love them eternally anyway. I'll get through it. I'll be like, Mommy got through it. Mommy got through her life, and you guys can too. You can do whatever you want. Don't let it stop you. But it was just kind of hard, people judging you, because this world is full of society's out about judging, and just to have something that people don't see every day and like think about, you just get judged so bad. And that's why I kind of like my birthmarks kind of faded, so sometimes I'm a little subconscious of my body, because I there's not much like on my arms or on my face or my neck, but there is a lot on my legs and my stomach, and so I always get kind of a little subconscious about it, especially my stomach, because I have quite a few birthmarks there. I always been subconscious about wearing like 2 pieces. I've always wanted to wear a 1 piece because, people always thought, what's that on your skin? What are those? Is that a rash? Can I get it from you? It's like, no, you can't get it from me. It's just my neurofibrosис, and people don't know what that is. And I have to sit there and explain it to them, which it gets very tiring when people judge you or think you're sick, or and they think you can catch it, because that has happened to me before. I have been around people when I was younger, and I do remember this, where there have been some parents that saw me with their, I was playing at the beach with the kids, and they didn't want them near me because they thought I had some rash, and their total was going to get it from me. When my mom had to explain to them, no, she's not going to get it. She was born with this. It's a hereditary disease. They can't get it. And so that's why I just hope my kids, they don't have to go through that, being judged by the looks on their skin. And so, well, moving on from neurofibrosис, I really told you much about that, I just struggling through it, so it's a little hard. Back to dyslexia and ADHD. Now, with these disabilities, you could have it, and my experience with it could be completely different. So if someone who has it, don't assume that all ADHD people and dyslexia are like me because I have it, because every ADHD person is different. Every dyslexic is different. Now, I have mentioned earlier what ADHD is: hyper-attention deficit disorder. It means where I have trouble paying attention. I can get distracted very easily. I can see something out of the corner of my eye, and I'll look at it and be like, what is that? I did that. I don't do that much now since I'm an adult, and I've kind of learned to try to stay focused. But I did it a lot when I was a child, and there are medications for it, but and some people think the medications are really bad for it. People think a lot of ADHD get put on Ritalin. Now, I will admit I was put on medication for my ADHD when I was younger, but it was not Ritalin. I actually went to a neurofibrosis, which is a brain doctor, which is a neurological doctor, and he did not prescribe me on Ritalin. I'm not going to say the medication I was on, but I will say it was not Ritalin. It was not Ritalin. And people think, Ritalin is so bad, and that's what kids get put on, which I find very sad, because I hear that is a really bad drug, and so I just hope, But if it does work for you, then that's what you need. But I just want to let you guys know that don't go and judge and hate things about me, that I was on these bad drugs and stuff. No. Mine helped me. It really helped me to stay calm, because with ADHD, with hyper, I would get really hyper. I would get really excited. And I would just start shaking. I would just start talking. I would just be so happy, and people would look at me like, why are you crazy? Why are you talking so fast? Why you're hyper? It helped me just to kind of relax, stay calm. But I am no longer on it, because I can stay calm myself. I do get hyper every once in a while, but not as often as I was when I was a child. And I do lose focus sometimes, but the people I'm around right now, they understand me. They understand, I'm just me. It's who I am. It's my personality. It's who I am. So that's kind of my ADHD. So it was kind of hard really growing up with ADHD, not harding to focus, but maybe medication did help me a bit. So that was helpful, but it was still hard, because with me, I was in special ed in school, but I was the only kid who had ADHD in the whole special ed thing. If they did, I did not know. All the other kids in special ed, they did not. They either had ADD or some other type of learning disability. So I was the only one. So a lot of them were kind of similar. A lot of them did have ADD, and ADD is a little bit different than ADHD. They are react a little differently, because people with ADHD, we can kind of get mood swings sometimes too. We can be very happy, or something can make us very upset very easily. Me personally, that's what I went through. I haven't met someone like that. I've heard stories. I've watched documentaries about other people being like me, so I'm glad I wasn't the only one going cuckoo when I got upset, So, just keep that in mind if you meet someone who has ADHD. Don't assume that, we're all the same. We're all very different. Just like everyone in the world has different personalities. Everyone who has ADHD is also very different, and we respond different ways, and we deal with it in our own way that is best for us. And so, now on to dyslexia. I have dyslexia, and people don't know it's a learning disability. Now, some can be beautiful at writing and suck at math. Some can be terrible at writing and reading, which is me, and be amazing at math. I was really good at math. I loved math, especially when it didn't have to be those word problems. I loved math because it was so easy, because the answer was absolute. There was one answer. There's one answer you had to seek out. There wasn't like multiple answers or like really complicated and stuff. Or like, with spelling, this is the rule, except when this happens, like with spelling and stuff, this is the rule. They have rules for spelling in English, and this is the rule. Oh, except for this word. Oh, except for that. This is an exception to that rule. That's one thing I really disliked. That's the part I struggled with spelling. Reading, I did struggle with reading. I got really better at reading. But spelling, I still struggle to this day. I cannot spell whatsoever. It's just like they would try to teach me how to spell. And I, in middle school and high school, with spelling stuff, I would get to a third grade level and could not go above. I just couldn't grasp the rules. I just couldn't grasp the rules beyond that. I just couldn't grasp it. I just couldn't get it. So I'm still I'm not really good at spelling, which I love. I have my phone. There it is. I love the spell check on my phone. So when I got to high school, they kind of stopped trying to teach me how to spell and let me able to use technology, because since we live in this world now full of technology, I have a computer, it has spell check. I have a phone that has spell check. So, and with my phone, on my text message, it has kind of learned me very well of how I spell things. Just like, with Microsoft Word, it learns, the more one person uses it, it learns how you spell things, so it recognizes what you're trying to say, which I love about that, which I love when they allow me to use that in school, so I could use that instead of having to ask all the time or get things wrong all the time. So spelling has just always been really trouble. It was really hard when you have dyslexia with reading and kind of with spelling, things that look similar, they look the same to us. The lowercase b and the lowercase d, they are very similar. They're a mirror image of each other, and dyslexic, not all. I got them confused all the time as a kid. I did get really good at it now that I'm out of school and I'm not constantly having to do spelling all the time. Now that when I write things down, I kind of write all my B's as D's, because in my real name, there is a D. That's all I'm saying. You guys know me as Tootsie. There's not a D in that name, but in my real life name, there is a D in my real life name. So I always kind of just automatically write a D, because I'm just so used to doing it because of my real legal name. And so it's just, when I was a kid, I was always flopping around my B's and D's, and I was on my lowercase M's and my lowercase N's, M and N. There was a lowercase P's and Q's, and sometimes I even get the B and the P confused, because it's like the B and then flip it down, it's a P. So they look very similar, and just like I saw things backwards, so I wrote things backwards. I would write a capital N backwards. Imagine that. I would write my letters backwards a lot, because it's just that's the chemical disbalance in dyslexic's brain. It flips things around. It tricks our brain tricks us, and so I don't see it as you guys are seeing it. My brain, it's correct when I'm looking at it, but when going from your eyes to your brain, it switches around somewhere between the eyes and the brain. It switches around somewhere in there, and so my brain doesn't see it as correct. It sees it as the opposite way, or upside down, or backward. So that's why it's really hard for dyslexic, because we're constantly switching things around. We have to focus. We have to look at it. It's okay, which way is this way, is it correct? So that was like hard growing up because I had to really focus, And so that's why I kind of like spell check and stuff. And me with reading in school, they always said I had a really low reading score, but they started doing studies when I was in high school that people read better when they're reading something they're interested about. Because, like, how they did it in school, we got these stories. It's like, okay, read these stories. We're going to see how many words you read in 1 minute and see how many they are correct, which I hated. I hated speed reading. It's like, why do you care how fast I can read? Why can't you care about how well I'm reading? Why does it matter how fast I can read? It ain't more important that I'm correct and I'm understanding what I'm reading. And actually, I said that not that kind of way. I said it kind of calmly to my case manager, and she says, "You're right. I don't understand why either." She agreed with me. She's like, that makes perfect sense. You're making perfectly sense. Why? But, she still had to do it with me because that's what the Board of Education wanted. That's what they wanted. I'm not trying to deny the Board of Education because I know they're trying to do what's best for our kids, but I'm really hoping that they're going to try to be more broad and stuff and try to make it individual for each child. Try to have them find out the teachers, the case managers to deal with their cases individually. And if you don't know what a case manager is, I don't know if they have in other states, but the school I have, a case manager is your teacher that you generally have academic support with. Now, academic support is kind of what some other school would call a free period where you go do your homework, but academic support is for special ed kids where we can go there and we can get help. We can get help with our homework, which I had in middle school and I had in high school, which was very helpful because my parents, they never learned any of that stuff in what I learned in high school. My dad never learned algebra. He never learned geometry. He never learned any of that math. They had it available, but it wasn't a requirement to take it. Because when I was in high school, there was algebra 2. You had to take in 9th grade. There was geometry. You had to take in 10th grade. You had to take algebra 2 in 11th grade. So, but, I mean, you didn't really that's what was required unless you had struggled with math and you were in special ed and you were evoked and you were put in remediational. That's what lower level math or lower level, anything that's lower level, it's called remediational. And some schools, like, they'll give you the credit because, like, you have a disability, so you're still learning that you still have to take the required amount of math course we take. I was in mainstream math. I was never in special ed math, which I was so happy because I was with what I call the big kids because I was always really small and stuff. So I was with the big kids. I was smart, so I always loved it when I took math. And so, but I was in remediational reading and writing, remediational English. And so, I know I'm kind of jumping around in topics and stuff, so it's like, they always try that. I was continued in special ed reading, and when I did go to high school, they did put me in regular English, but I was really struggling a lot, and so they put me in a special ed writing English to teach me how to write a proper sentence properly, and it really helped. I was in that class for 2 years, and it was a go at your own pace. It was like a program. You go at your own pace, which I love programming at your own pace, and it kind of try to see your needs of what you need to learn, and which I really liked. And I was the first kid to actually complete the program because either kids, they got smart enough or they believed they could move on to the higher English class, or they moved, or they switched schools, or something happened. So I was the first. I was so happy and so proud of myself that I was the first, and so I really liked it. I was very happy that I got to complete that first, and it really helped me a lot because, like, what I learned there, how to write proper sentences and how to write proper paragraphs and stuff and short stories, I still use to this day. I still use the similar in the tools and the tricks it taught you how to do it. I still use it. I kind of do it automatically. I don't really think about it. It kind of just happens. So I'm not really thinking about it. I'm just right along as I'm going. How I plan out how I'm going to write an essay, I use that. So that helped me out a lot. Excuse me, my nose is running. And so that helped me out a lot. So, I don't know, I just want to come and talk to you. Maybe you're dyslexic out there that's similar to me. So, what else should I talk about? I want to talk about more, but can't think of anything. So, I want to talk about more about how it affected me as a child. Because, see, when I was a kid, I did not know I was dyslexic. I did not know I was ADHD. I did not know I had neuropsychosis until my mom told me one day. But it was kind of hard because I saw the world as I saw that was reality to me. So I didn't quite understand. It's like, why aren't people seeing the world as I'm seeing it? Why aren't people having the same struggles I am? Why aren't they? And other kids didn't understand because it's like they understood it, but they didn't understand what I understood. That's why I hated working in groups with kids, especially elementary school, because they could open the book and they could read it, and I'm just sitting there I couldn't read it. I couldn't understand it. And it's just I had some music you have to tell them that you're dyslexic. And it's when I was a kid, I was already subconscious. I was already shy, and I already knew I was smart. If you have something that makes you different, you're gonna get made fun of, which I was. I did get teased. I did have a little bullying, but mine wasn't every day. I know some kids were every day, but mine was random. It was randomly one day these kids were teasing, and the next day they'll kind of be nice and try to be my friend. So I was very confused growing up. I was very confused. It's are these people my friends? Is that what you do? You tease each other? Is that what you do? And so it was very confusing to me, because I was already confused about, words and English and stuff. And also, growing up, I was not in special ed until the 3rd grade, because I was even though I struggled with spelling and reading, I was smart. I was very good at figuring things out, how things go. I was very good at figuring things out, so I didn't have, and when I was tested to be in special ed and see if you can stay in special ed, you get tested to see if you're smart enough or something. I don't like saying that, smart enough to stay in special ed, or if you're smart enough to leave. It's all about puzzles. And I was someone who was very good at puzzles. I loved doing puzzles, and so I wasn't in special ed probably when I needed to be, even though my mom kept telling the school, she needs to go, she needs to be in special ed, you need to help her, she can't do it. It runs in my family, you can see the signs myself. I'm with her every day at home. And so I didn't get the help I needed till I was 3rd grade. And so I didn't really know how to spell past kindergarten, 1st grade, all the way to 3rd grade. So I was always behind on my spelling the whole way through. Because they finally put me in there because they realized I was getting really bad test scores and I was really bad at my spelling. So I was kind of at that time, I thought that just what it was for everybody. Everybody went to, this little room with a few other kids and did their own little thing. I thought everyone did that at some point during the day. But then I realized we're the only ones. And because it's when I was in elementary school, you have your English, you have your reading, you have your math, you have your science, you have your history. And then we also had art, music, and gym. See, with me being special ed, I was taken out of history and science. So you can learn those later in life to be in my special ed classes, even though I was already taking the lowest mainstream. Because in my elementary school, there were 3 teachers for each grade, except for kindergarten, 1st grade all the way to 5th grade. There was 3 teachers for each one. One taught high end, medium, right on schedule learning, and then one taught a little lower, below schedule. So we were separated depending on how you tested the year before or where you would go. And I was always in the lowest. Even in math, I was always in the lowest because I couldn't read the problem, because I couldn't read it to myself or understand what I had to do. I also did dislike 3rd grade because that's when we learned timetables, which I still dislike timetables because you gotta be fast at it. So you gotta be fast at it, you gotta know this, you gotta get to know this now, which I disliked, which I'm how who cares how long it takes you to figure out an answer? As long as you get it right, who cares how you get it? Who cares? As long as you get the answer right, who cares how you do it? Does anybody agree with me on that? Like, no matter how you get the answer, as long as you get the answer right, who cares how you got it right? So it's just, that's why I was always in mainstream math. And also, like, with the testing, they tested you. You had a test on the computer, and it was like a 30-question thing, and you see, I can't read that well because I'm dyslexic, so I couldn't read. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. So that's also why I was. And so it was hard for me when I went to middle school because they expected, oh, you should already know all this about history. You should already know this about science, when I didn't know anything. Except for what I saw on the TV on Channel 2, what my father told me, because I was also very good at asking questions growing up, so I did learn a lot through that. I think I learned that more than I did in school, which school is still important, but it was hard when I went to middle school because they're like, why don't you know these answers? I'm like, well, I was never in, history or science in like 3rd grade up, and like in kindergarten, you're just playing all day. And in 1st grade and 2nd grade, I had ADHD, and so the teacher just sitting up there talking to us. That's boring to me. I was la 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 la, looking around, maybe looking down, twiddling my thumbs when I'm not paying attention. But they thought I was because I was very quiet. I was very shy. But reality, my brain's off in another world, because that's what my ADHD did to me. I was like, I would randomly think of something, which made me think of something else, which would make me think of something else. So I would go on this huge tangent, and I'm just sitting there. I'm off somewhere else, not paying attention to what the teacher's talking about. And so there we go. And man, this is a long video. It's already 26 minutes. Holy crap. Well, I hope, I'm going to try to wrap this up. So I hope maybe somebody out there can find this, and who's like me, who has multiple disabilities, and can understand what the struggle was in school, because, it was hard for me because, I wasn't in regular classes, I wasn't, like, with math, I wasn't being probably at the level I should have been at because I couldn't read. And like with elementary school, everyone with a disability was all together. You weren't situated. Like in middle school, it was a little more situated. In high school, we were very situated. We weren't with kids who had really bad disabilities, because in elementary school, I was also with kids who had autism or Asperger's, who had more severe with also social disabilities. In high school, we were a little more separated, but I was still the whole time, as far as I knew, the only dyslexic, the only ADHD kid. I was the only dyslexic the whole way through. Which some of my special ed teachers, because, in middle school and all, one of my special ed reading teachers in 7th grade, she didn't even know I was dyslexic. I think she should have known that, but apparently she didn't know, because I was always assumed that since I have this case manager and this is all her kids have ADD, or I had this, case manager and all her kids have this, but I was the one and so only who did not have. I was the only one, and so it was people assumed about me, which I hated. So it was hard growing up, but now that I look back, I did learn. I got through it. You just gotta fight through it, and I did get through, and I actually did graduate with honors from high school. So if you're struggling with your disability growing up, don't worry. Just fight through it and do your best, because I say, as long as you try, you don't fail. You tried, you gave your 100%, and even if you get questions wrong or you fail tests, I failed hundreds of tests, and I still passed. Maybe in high school, in high school, there were some tests I didn't do well on, like in geography and economics, but I still passed high school with honors. I still passed. So, I was never a good test taker, and so that's one thing that was really hard, because I wasn't a good test taker, because I needed the test read to me, because sometimes, I'll read a question. What if I know the answer? What if I know the answer to this question, but I can't read it? How can I get it right? So that's when I liked about high school, because they finally started reading the test to me. I got all my tests read to me, so that way they're testing me on the knowledge about the test, not my reading. The only time they didn't read the test to me if it was a reading test, which I still didn't like, because what if it asked me, what does this word mean? What if I know what that word means, but I can't read the word? Does that make sense to anyone but me? Does that make sense to anyone? What they ask you, what does this word mean? In reading in question, and you know what the word means, but you just can't read the word, so you don't know what that word is. So you don't know you know what that the word means, because you can't read the word. Does that make sense to anyone but me? Anyone? So, okay, this is already 30 minutes long, so I'm just gonna end this here. So I decided to go on a tangent. Maybe I'll make another video about this, but I decided to make a video talking about me, maybe so somebody out there can relate to me, because that's what I believe that YouTube is about. You watch YouTube that you can relate to, that you have some similarities to, and this is why I made my channel. Maybe someone out there can, find me, and that they're like me, and so they can relate to me, and they'll watch my channel, just like all my other YouTubers I watch. But I like them because they have some type of similarity that connects to me, and that's why I watch them. So I'll talk to you guys in my next video. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's the same way it's about down there, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye!